Hello, this is wmpyr here to talk about this guy right here. This is the LLC knife, the Lapu Lapu Corto Fixed Blade from Professor Bram. And out of all the LLC knives that I've personally handled, this one is by far my favorite. Well, basically because it's a fixed blade. I really like fixed blades. Not that I dislike folders. I also really like folders, but this one, it just, something about it, it calls out to me. Now, the weight of the knife, I would have to say, is definitely more, it's more towards the handle, okay? But not by a whole lot, because, let's see, you guys can see, I can balance it right there. So it's a little bit past the middle area, but definitely, if I do this, you're gonna see that it starts to tip over this way. So it does favor the handle, but like I said, not by a whole lot. Now, the weight being more on the handle to me, this is one of the characteristics of a good martial arts knife, in my opinion. Why? Because that means the weight is primarily going to be in your hand. So if you want something like for wilderness survival and you want a chopper, then probably you want the weight more on the blade. But with the martial arts stuff, we do so much, you know, whether it's boxing, you know, or it's some other type of martial arts stuff that you do. We do a lot of hand stuff. So then it just makes sense that if the weight is in the hand, then it's just makes a smoother translation in that sense. So yeah. Now for those people that are thinking, man, that's too complex and stuff. No, right here, you see the pommel, and then it has super aggressive jimping, and you could see there's a striking area here, there's a catching area right there, and you could use it to scrape, to strike, to dig in. So that is a no-brainer. Just to do a simple hammer fist. You don't have to train in martial arts for a decade to be able to do that. So boom, right there. And then you can scrape down as well. There are some other areas that has super aggressive jimping on purpose, and that is just to make sure that you have a good grip when you're holding it in your hand like this. Because of the shape, you can see that the handle comes downwards. That creates pistol grip shape. And ergonomics wise, like you're going to do a push-up, you want this kind of setting. You want this kind of physics involved. It just makes sense. If you're doing like this and then try to do a push-up with the point this way, you won't be able to do it. But with this, you could stab in. Why? Because the pistol shape works with the ergonomics that way. You can see that it has a very nice blade there. Man, it has a very generous length in my opinion, but even though if we probably measured it completely, and I will put the specs on the bottom, but the handle actually may come out longer. And that has kind of been his trademark, is because he does so much with the handle. And once again, that also makes sense from a martial arts perspective. Remember, Professor Bram is a teacher of teachers when it comes to Filipino martial arts. That is his forte. And, you know, in what we learn in the Filipino martial arts is that the grip, the handle, is extremely important. So there's a lot of emphasis there on the handle. These cutouts right here, I mean, this really helps you with the grip, and you could feel a very secure grip. But we could also use the ricasso area and choke up here for fine cutting if you need to do more you know, EDC type of tasks as well. And this feels very comfortable. The jimping here, the aggressive jimping, really helps when I do this. The thumb feels real solid, and I feel like I could do some excellent fine work in that sense. But from a martial arts perspective, this right here, the ramp, even though this is a fixed blade, because with a folder we use the ramp to hook and it deploys the blade, but in the closed position the ramp can also have multiple functions. And here in a fixed blade, we could still use the ramp, obviously, for hooking. And man, since it's a fixed blade, I mean, this is going to be, you know, you can't beat that in strength-wise. And then you could also use the ramp to dig in. And here's a simple technique. A lot of people are like, well, some of those techniques look way too complicated. Like, all you do is, if there's a finger available, you put it against the ramp, and then you just make a grip around the finger. And then now you use the ramp as leverage to attack the joint. It could be this side as well. This side, and then I'm just going to use the ramp to put the leverage on there to pry, as you can see, and that breaks fingers. Right here with the skin, I could just dig the ramp in, and then immediately with the thumb, I could do this. So I'm pinching, and then as I rip, I'm going to get some DNA. So once again, the ramp, not just for trapping, hooking, and even striking, and I could use it kind of makes this kind of shape right there. So with this, I could catch stuff as well. So I really like that multi-purpose. The hole, of course, it's nice for the finger to sit in with that triangle shape. And if you are going to cut, because of the shape and the cutout right here, it's very strong, I feel. Pulling gives me it grips back. The handle definitely grips back. But it's thin, so you could do stuff like this for changing grips. And of course, it also has, just like on the folders, it has these divots right there, which you could also use for changing grips as well. But another thing I like is when I also like to hold it sideways for cutting this way, for this kind of motion here. And once again, it feels comfortable to put the thumb. So even though these are not necessarily the divots for grip changing, they just give you a nice feel right there, sense of touch, where I could rest my thumb on there, or I could use the hole, and it's just a comfortable place to rest the thumb as I gotta do whatever it is that I'm going to do. And hopefully, you know, none of us want to be in a real life self-defense situation that involves this. One more thing before I go is, because of the handle shape here, when I'm holding the knife, you can see this action right there. Okay, so I could grip it real tight, okay, but then this, I'm not going to have it open like that. It's kind of a little bit slightly loose, but still solid, that it's not just going to fall out of my hand. Boom, right? It's still solid. You can see the snap. And if it was a normal knife, it would just be straight right there. But because it comes up that much, it gives me that much more leverage to push down. And that is your snap cut right there. So just squeezing and squeezing more. So it's still a solid grip, like I said. It's still a solid grip, but then squeezing more gives me that extra snap cut for efficient power. So that's it for now, here with this amazing knife, the Lapu Lapu Corto. So thank you for viewing, and take care, folks.